Call the meeting to order. We're going to begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, please remain standing for the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yes, sir.
Father, tonight we just honor you for allowing us to be here tonight. We ask your blessings on our city officials tonight. We ask that you be with them, and as we discuss city business and as we move about this year from this point on, we ask that you give us guidance and understanding of how to make this community be all she can be, all that she needs to be, that it could be an example of what you can do in a community such as ours. So we give you thanks and praise for this tonight in Jesus' name.
Amen. Okay, let's start out with a roll call. Alderman Greg Smith, absent. Alderman Glenn.
Here.
Alderman Snyder.
Here.
Alderman Saunders, absent. Alderman Simpson.
Here.
Alderman Jason Osborne. Here. We have a quorum. Okay, first item on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes for the April 18th and the April 25th, 2024 board meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the April 18th and April 25th, 2024 minutes of the council.
We have a motion to approve the minutes. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. All opposed? Okay, we accept, approve the minutes. The mayor's report. Really, I only got maybe two things to do. Building inspector. We have Mr. Kerry Lee is currently continuing to perform those activities to the best of his ability. I realize it's a mayoral appointment, but right now we do not have a qualified individual to appoint. And I don't know that we're going to really know much after tonight's meeting or after this discussion, but this is for discussion. Do you think we need to call around and see if we can?
So Kerry is continuing to do it?
He is, but he really wants to stop doing it as quickly as possible.
If that one meeting is good.
I know, and I talked to him, and he said, I'll keep you until you find somebody. So now it's kind of, onus is kind of on us to see what we can do. I mean, anybody have any ideas?
What about calling some of the well-known building inspectors that inspect for real estate and see if they, because how many times a month would they be needed? Could we do it on a per diem basis or something?
I don't know.
Not to interrupt, but that's something I've kind of been working on for a few years. Specifically, change the compensation to a percentage of the building cost.
Right.
We might be able to attract more applicants.
Okay, we have some suggestions too.
Well, I have a question. Didn't last time a name come up? Somebody gave a name that would
Somebody
be
provided the name, I think.
James Beard. James Beard.
We
Does
don't,
anybody
I
contact?
don't know who that is.
I'm sorry, Kenya.
James Beard.
Very
B-E-E.
He just completed the house over on Benton Drive. He is interested in the building inspector job.
Debbie, could you send me an email with his contact information or someone, Penny or Debbie?
Yep.
Phil?
Didn't you, we also talked about maybe getting around to the other towns?
Yeah, that was part of the discussion, yeah.
And find one person that you can share, pay enough.
And I have another name if this Beard doesn't work out.
beer. Nice try.
I got Beard.
Here, no, here.
Oh, sorry, okay.
You know, Bud Light. Bud Light.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
One of the Chatfield crew, he recently moved here. He's part of, he built several houses here in town.
Oh,
And
we're
he would
sure
be
about it.
excellent.
Chatfield?
Chatfield.
Chatfield.
I know who they are, yes.
And he's got several people that work for him, and I was going to approach him if he had somebody, or if he would be interested in that. I mean, he's
Would you, Penny, would you like, if you know this individual, would you like to approach him on our behalf?
I will.
Please do.
Yep.
Please do, and let me know. Go ahead.
John, are there any special qualifications?
Yeah.
I mean,
They have to live there.
just because they can build a house doesn't mean that they're qualified building inspectors.
Yeah, I mean, we need to look at a list of them. I mean, they need to know what they're doing about
Codes and,
codes
yeah.
and code enforcement, electric, concrete, I mean, the whole codes.
Okay. That gives us some guidance to at least move
So should I
forward.
wait on that?
Excuse me?
Should I wait on that then? Because we kind of need to know what
We kind of need to know what we expect of them to do.
Yeah.
Before we go after
I
them.
think we need to put out what the qualifications we're looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Set proposals.
Do we have?
Like a bid for qualification?
I think so.
Okay. Yes.
So hold on.
Yes.
Okay.
But they should be looking for an announcement.
I think this warrants a call to maybe Palmyra or even Hannibal and have a discussion with them. Okay, I'll move on. Okay, at this point in time, I think we're going to go ahead and move forward with electing the president of the board. By ordinance, both city and state statute supposed to be on the first meeting in May. I guess it is our first meeting in May. The board, all of them shall nominate from their group a person to serve as president of the board, who is also the mayor pro tem. And at this point in time, the chair will accept nominations for the position of president of the board of Albany.
I'll make a motion to nominate Jason Osborne.
Wow, that was quick. We have a motion on the floor.
Second.
We have a second. So the motion is to elect Mr. Jason Osborne as president of the board of Aldermen.
I'll catch up as you go. Sorry.
I didn't know it was the nomination. I don't know.
What happens if he votes no?
Yeah.
Oh, he has.
Yeah.
So if I have to abstain,
You don't have to abstain.
thank you.
You do not lose your ability to vote. Just like I was gone and you could vote twice if it was a tie. So anyway, all in favor say aye. Does that be a voice vote? Yes. Okay. All opposed?
Sorry, Jason.
Congratulations, Mr. President of the board. You're elected. Like you knew it's going to go in a different direction, right? With the board's permission, I need to have a motion to allow the chair to move one item forward in the agenda so that our pool manager may conduct business and then attend a function that she must be at. So I'll entertain a motion to allow the chair to do that.
So moved.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second. We have a second. All in favor? The aye. Okay, the ayes have it.
I'll make this short and sweet. Okay, two or three things. First of all, Joe, get this in your packet.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a commercial grade microwave that I would like to purchase as a purchase. The next thing you'll see, I don't know if it's in your package, but it's not. But it is a portable thing that we promised health inspection that we would do last year and we just haven't done it. So it's kind of a must-have. It's relatively cheap. We could go through the expense of putting in a real sink out there, which we mentioned last year. Honestly, I think that's kind of an overkill. I don't know that we have room for them there. We just want to satisfy health inspection, and I think this is a cheap, reasonable way to do it. So that we need. The reason for the first grade microwave is the microwave we have out there is old, and I'm not even sure we own that to get my phone this out. Plus, if we're going to heat up snacks, we need something commercial grade, really. It's probably about $100 $190 more than a regular microwave. But since we did our swimsuits and all that, I was under budget, 100. So there's 100 there we have to play with. I think for the money, it's important to get something decent and less.
Faster,
Yes, and it's going to be faster. I feel like that's a necessity. Third, pool prices. I just wanted board approval that we could raise the daily admission fees by maybe $1 for each section, and then fees of passes by $10.
What are they now?
Daily fee, it looks like 4 and under $2, 5 through 8 is $3, 9 through 17 $4, and 18 and over is $5. So not so far out of pocket, but it's still reasonable enough that we can probably go up a little bit.
What does that compare to other municipalities?
You know, I'm not real sure on that.
But then again,
This has
it's not-
stayed the same for a long time, I know that. So, yeah, it is really reasonable.
Not enough to scare anybody off.
No, I don't think it's enough that we probably need to make it a little bit of.
Do you know what the attendance is at the pool, just on average each season?
We usually have probably 75 people a day. Is about what we do. Yeah, that's average. Last thing you guys are gonna need to vote on is the school calls for summer school. And we usually waive those fees, just to get approval from you guys that we are still going to do that.
Do they come at a different time during the, I guess they come.
They come during summer school and they come usually not when the rest of the pool is there. So they come in the morning, like, we might open at 10 and let them come before the big crowd gets there.
Well, I'll make a motion to waive the fee for summer school kids.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion to waive the fees for summer school kids. We have a second. Okay, we have a motion, second. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Do we need a separate vote on the purchases that she has requested? Well, we got the fees and the food. Do we have to keep them separate? We do it all at one time.
Probably. Separate.
Yeah, I just want
Two different
to
subjects.
get that.
Okay. We need a motion to raise the fees by $1 on each of the standard rates. What was the amount on the?
Season passes,
Yeah.
I said $10. So like, one
Okay.
pass for $70, we'd raise that from 70 to 80. A pass for 2 people is $90, so now it'll be 100. Pass for 3 to 5, 110. So according, $10 according as our other price.
Just straight season passes.
Season pass is $10. That'll be great.
Need a motion to approve raising the fees as presented for both the standard entrance and as well as the passes. Do we have a motion?
So much.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
You got it. Now, next, we need a motion to approve the purchases she's recommended. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor say aye. Submit your purchase order requisitions to the city clerk, and we'll get them over unless you want to take care of it yourself.
I can do it, whatever you want me to do.
Very well.
Okay, done.
Thank you.
All I have.
You have all your people hired?
Yes, everyone's hired. You have 15. That's the number on the sheet before, so that went all. And then you see the yard.
I don't know if we have to approve.
I think we already did that this last week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're good.
And you've got your CPR classes or?
Yep, everything's in line, ready to go.
Yep. Street department, I think, was over today painting, part of the
Hopefully
paint.
we'll get that filled early next week.
Right, we can do the rest of the painting as it's filling because the rest is on top deck. So we're making rapid progress towards the opening on the Memorial Day. So,
I think it's gonna.
thank you for jumping in and helping make this happen in a timely manner. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is the city clerk's report.
Everyone should have a copy in their binder. Provided on the report are balances of our checking account. One of the action items is for the citywide cleanup. In years past, it's my understanding the city rents a roll-off dumpster to allow citizens to take whatever they want, well, that's legal, to put in the dumpster, so they can kind of clean up their properties and whatnot. And I got a price from Danes on that. For a 20-yard roll-off, it's $146. The dump fee is $2.92 per haul. And then the tonnage rate is $65 a ton, with a daily rental fee of $4.50. I talked to Kevin O'Brien, and he said that's very much in line with what it has always been.
Last year, I think, did we have two?
We had two. I think that's very interesting you brought that up. I believe he said last year we had two dumpsters, and I think he said that we did the two dumpsters twice, which would be four full.
Fast.
And in the previous years, they've done 6.
Mm-hmm.
And if the board thinks we can afford to do 6, I think that would go a long ways into giving our citizens an opportunity to get rid of some of the stuff that they need to get rid of, and probably help clean the city up a little bit. It's your choice, of course.
Yeah, they keep filling them up.
What, do you know how much we paid last year?
I don't know.
Because I was thinking that we had an issue with people dumping tires.
Tires are illegal, and I think it is a problem. It's an ongoing problem. I don't know.
If you cut out the sidewalk, they will take it.
But who does that? How much are we getting hit for each tire?
They are specifically talking regular waste here, they're not talking tires.
I know, but when people sneak them in, they usually count them.
Is there a sign that's put up down there saying what's allowed and what's not allowed? Is that
There's no way to
what you
control
want
that.
to
Yeah,
do? I don't know how this works.
There's, if I recall correctly, there's typical signage of against hazardous materials, with a big broad definition, and also tires. Short of putting cameras down there, I'm not sure.
So it's not monitored, it's not.
And that's another problem in the past, but the chief remembers that we've had people from other towns come just fill them up. And that happened before.
I know the trash company, they'll take one bulky item a week.
Every week.
They won't take it. If I put a trash on, they took it. I called them, they took it. They said you can have one bulky item a week.
We just did it one day.
Like a drive-through, like Quincy does.
City
Yeah.
like
And you have to show your ID and until they go.
If you just did it one day and had someone.
Like on a Saturday.
you have someone there to monitor it, otherwise we're gonna get shocked.
So you're basically saying, control the entrance, control who dumps it, control the length of time.
I mean, I've seen I think in Quincy where you have to show your. Yeah.
Chief?
Is there any place that we could put them where we could control, do throughout the day, and at night we can close it off, so we can have somebody there making sure that somebody from in town, some proper type of items being dumped.
You're saying for more than one day, maybe be able to do it that way.
We have a fenced in area.
Maybe the utility barn, put in one of the, maybe put in the utility barn and putting it up at the end of the day.
It's hard to move those. I mean, you have to have it in a fenced-in area that's close to fence, right? I mean, we could physically move it.
Do we need some more time to think about this? I
Is
mean,
there a possibility we could set them back on the backside of the wastewater plant, since we have that roundabout out there? Set them down at the far end, that way people will be out of the way of the wastewater group. We've got the fence there already, so we could have it open during the day, close it at night.
you think these, George?
Something else to consider is like in Canton, they have a spring and a fall cleanup, and people just put it out, and the trash can actually come and pick it up at their house. Then you don't have to worry about the dumpsters, you're not monitoring anything.
And they won't pick up tires.
Well, no, they
You get my drift?
They put something out there that can't be picked up.
They
just
leave
wanna
it.
pick it up like refrigerators and
Yeah,
other
they-
stuff. And then you don't have,
We'd have to modify
Your contract?
our system, there are things you cannot put out, you have to put out construction waste. Drywall, you know. But when we do this annual cleanup, you get it all, which maybe is not bad if that's what motivates them to get it done in the first place. So that's a very good idea, I think, maybe. Stop talking.
you might need to just contact, Allied, is that who you do it? Or Danes, and see what they charge.
I like that.
Well, the other one, in fact, we had two work as well. So Dane doesn't want to do like I think they would charge.
Yeah, if Dane doesn't, I use the word loosely, makes sense, especially monetarily, we'll kind of figure out what it would take to do on average 6. But I think Chief James and George have a very workable idea, right? Put it out there, you've got a gate, you only during daylight hours, control who comes in, you watch what they dump. If they're not from this area, if they're not assisted within the confines of the city limits, they shouldn't be allowed to dump there. So we have 2 options, and we're going to have to make a decision. We need to get all the information together so we can make a decision in the next board meeting. Y'all good with that?
Yeah, because I think Quincy requires an ID and a current utility bill to prove that they're residents.
Yes.
Jeanette, have you called any other carriers that have the roll-off?
No, there are providers in town, so that's.
Gotcha,
Yeah.
okay. I was wondering why we went Dane. Merkel's and Palmyra is a lot cheaper. Because I just called to order one for a house renovation, and it's nothing near this cost. And it was a bigger roll-off.
We can certainly call and get a quote.
And, what's his name from the hunting farm, started. Yeah.
Their
Cedar
roll-offs
Ridge.
are very large either. That's why I ended up calling Merkel's. They had the biggest for the area, and they were really reasonable.
Okay.
I guess it is.
I think I was looking at 45 yards,
mean,
and it was like $750.
Okay, good, that's good news, thank you. Thank you very much.
I mean, just to satisfy the big process.
Yes, agree.
Yeah, I mean, and I also, tires,
I'll help, I mean, call, whatever.
there's a place in Macon that recycles them, and they'll take them for $3 a piece, or $110 a ton of the tires.
Really?
Yeah,
Granny barn.
and there's an average of 100 tires in a ton, roughly, depending on size and whatnot, so.
That's interesting.
I mean, that might be an option, say, hey, if you have tires,
Yeah, because you don't want a bunch of tires just lying
right,
around.
because I know typically the trash company, like if they do an overhead dumpster, they'll sit there and count and then charge you extra for each tire.
Come see me.
Okay.
And we'll, you know, okay, either one.
Yeah.
Anything else,
I had information in your packet for the elected officials training.
No, that's how it's done.
Okay. I didn't know if anyone was interested in that.
Yeah.
But if so, we would need a motion to approve the expense for that. And it is $150 per city official. And it is held in Columbia this year. The agenda looks like a very good agenda.
So we can watch, I won't be in town on the day, we can watch it later.
Yeah, the price is the same for in-person and virtual. Is that, what about that?
I did not have
Yeah, when I went to it, it was at, in Columbia Holiday Inn Express, I think, and you just stayed there. That's where the conference was, and that's where you stayed.
So the motion will include lodging and registration.
And then for any meals that they didn't provide, we just saved our receipts, and they reimbursed for everything except for booze. And I think there's a limit, like how much you can, there should be. Yeah, I know, sorry.
I think they provided all but like the one dinner meal.
Yeah, they provide everything because we ate there for everything that we could.
All right.
Thursday night, I think, is on your own.
Yeah.
Is that council meeting night? We have to.
We've had to move it before.
Okay, I'll make a motion to, pay for the registration fee and lodging for any council members to attend and observe the Municipal League elected officials training in June.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. That was a long one. Sorry, you want to repeat that? You don't want to repeat that.
Lodging and registration.
Approve the lodging and registration fees for members of the council to attend the training sponsored by the Missouri Municipal League. We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion passes.
The next thing on my report is budget, which was included in one packet. Not much to say about it yet. I don't know if y'all have any questions on anything.
It's not, this is kind of the one you said.
These year-to-date numbers are not.
No.
Okay.
Nowhere near what they should be.
Okay.
No.
I know some specific line items, but that's not.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of what is here is what was.
Okay.
So, yeah. This is just a starting point.
It is, yeah. I do have resources available to me that are gonna come in on Monday, and, we're gonna get through some things and start having, Jackie Payne-Warren walks the cemetery, which she does annually, I believe, and she found some cemetery stones that need to be repaired. I'm not real familiar on this. Jason, you might know. Does that go out for bid or what?
Yeah, it should go through the park board, correct?
They're going to probably.
There's supposed to be $5,000 budget each year to repair, stones. And, it wasn't done this past year, but the year before, it was done, and David Booth was the person who did that. But nobody went out there last year. Actually, the year before, her name escapes me. One of the park members went out and did it, and David Booth did the work, but it doesn't have a lesson.
Steve, what kind of repairs do they make?
Oh, wow. Mostly straightening them up and putting new bases under them.
And I had to do that with my mother's in Paris, and I was responsible for that. I didn't know that.
These are people, their families are long gone. They're old stones.
Gotcha, gotcha. See, that's fine.
You see,
On that topic, our last parks meeting, we talked about reviewing the cemetery policy, which I did not have. We need that, because, there's no policy for burying someone on top of each other, I'm pretty sure. Cremated people, and that is happening out there. I know a couple of cases. Not opposed to that, I think that we need a policy. We'll work on it next meeting.
That's a fairly common don't they can't they stack two coffins as well or not?
I don't, it's been quite a while since I took the policy, I don't think that's, there's anything about that in the policy, but what's happening is the cremated, remains are buried on top of someone else's.
Right.
Hey, Steve, one of them is Frederick Sheets.
One of them is what?
Frederick Sheets.
Yes, the one about here.
Yeah, he's one of the Stones meeting right
Oh,
there.
that needs to be fixed.
Uh-huh. He's the one that built the St. Pete Church.
Oh,
Wow.
oh,
Correct?
We are planning to memorialize him at the cemetery walk. It's not actually a walk anymore, it's a church. But he was founder and the first preacher of that church. And in the last month or so, Darren Henry and I found out quite a bit of information about him. Told Darren yesterday that what we really need to do is find his descendants and see if one of them has about $250,000.
Fix the windows.
Fix the stone wall here.
How you doing on that?
I know a lot of people. Oh, perfect.
how are we gonna handle that?
So I just need to reach out to Dean.
We had to go out for free and put it out there for anybody to, he was always the only one that was ever interested in doing it, but I'm pretty sure have to put it out there like everything else, and then he was the only one that usually put in a bid to do it.
And then they probably need to coordinate with the park board.
Yeah. I didn't know Jeff was doing it.
The last thing on my report, was the porta potty bid. My understanding every year these are made available, at these locations.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the rates that we obtained from two different, companies.
One, yeah, like higher.
I think Scotty's we've gone with before.
Yeah.
I like their luxury.
Yes.
How you make it work, I think luxury. Yeah.
That's a sticker on the side.
It has a thing.
So with it, what's that?
Has a
being
BA.
paid to the city, is that correct? Dan, add anything else? Okay, so we need
to
a,
make a motion to approve one of these. Right.
yes. We need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from Scotty's Luxury Restrooms for one for South Park, one for North Park, and two for South Lake.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor to approve the Scotty's Luxury Restrooms bid. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries.
I wonder when they would do, I guess as soon as you contact them. They have heated toilet seats.
The son does a great job.
Or he said they have hand sanitizer probably in a vent. Yeah.
Have you seen it done yet?
Is that what she said? Marshall, at the end of the day,
That's all I had, unless you want to.
Being serious is tough. Okay, next on the agenda, we will please move along. City Attorney's Report, Mr. Russell.
Nothing major to report. We're moving ahead with the sale of that land and the elevator. The last council approved that, so that's one of the lots in the industrial park. So you'll be getting to sign closing documents
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
That's about all I got.
Off the beaten path, have they informed you what their intended use is?
Yeah, they're gonna put anhydrous out there. So.
Oh, okay. All right, anything else, Mr. Attorney?
No.
All right, moving right along. Committee reports, do we have a representative from Planning and Zoning? Okay, I will report on planning and zoning. At the last planning and zoning commission meeting, the commission approved the site plan that the Monroe City R1 school had presented for their, I guess I would call it an addition to the elementary. And so they've been issued a building permit, and I anticipate they'll be breaking ground by right after school stops. So I'm glad we got the board got that done.
That's for elementary school.
They were able to meet the concerns of people services had with the water line, and so we come to an agreement. And I think what's going to happen is once their board approves that, we'll have to come back to the table and get that ownership agreement in writing. Is that about right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I understood they're going to be the ones preparing the draft.
Excellent.
So that's our other emails.
That's good. That's good. Next on the agenda is Parks and Cemetery has a report.
Come up there so I can make sure.
Please do.
On the lighter side, to extend your conversation about tires, most people just take them out past my road, my house. On the phone back there, I've got pictures of the roof, so, we can put that in a minute to the picture. Maybe you need to dump it.
And they put it in tomorrow. A lot of times they go around the corner towards mud and dump stuff off there too.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 years ago, our committee applied for a DNR grant to make some major improvements to North Park. And unfortunately, we just found out early April that we received that grant. So in the meantime, some of the expenses have gone up somewhat, namely the park equipment. One of the reasons that we were able to apply for that grant is because the equipment has a certain number of handicap accessible playground equipment. And part of the grant is for handicap parking on a couple of the on two sides of the park, handicap sidewalks, that kind of thing. Do all of you have that grant application? Okay. Mr. Mayor does. One of the things I wanted to mention is one of the documents that, I want to go back a little farther than that. When Mayor Potterfield was leaving his post, we had $220,000 in our budget at that time that was, in his mind and the council, was set aside for this grant. And somewhere in this, I'm pretty sure there's a piece of paper that's, I've seen it, I couldn't find it just a while ago, where the council approved that. And I noticed in the newspaper, but Mr. Osborne tells me it's not accurate, that there's $429,000 in parks money. Just want to throw that out because it isn't accurate. One thing I do have is that, and I can't find one thing that I had at one time. At about October of 22, was the piece of paper that showed that we had $220,000 in our budget for that project. So one of the things that I think I need to bring up is that in this grant, one of the papers that Melissa Hayes signed and Christine Ellison signed says, in the event a grant is awarded, the city of Monroe City, Missouri will commit the necessary financial resources to operate and maintain the completed project in a safe and attractive manner for public accessing to perpetuity. We have 2 years to complete this grant, and so it could be done in phases. If money turns out to be an issue, I think we could scale back some of the equipment in that
application, but I don't think we could scale back any of the handicap equipment. And preferably we would scale back anything. And he's also on this committee, like that something.
Steve, what are we obligated as far as the match on that grant? Usually it's like DNR pays 75 or 25 or.
No, it's half, yes.
How much was,
Half of,
How much?
how much was the grant?
Well, it was almost $500,000.
so we're obligated for 250 and they'll give you.
Right, somewhere in there. Right. Well, one other thing I should mention is that the people at LOI wrote this grant, and they told us that if we did not follow through, we would put on a blacklist, and Monroe City would not be eligible for any DNR grants for however long, maybe in perpetuity, I don't know. So the good news is we would have 2 years to finish it. Part of our match could be the city employees maybe doing sidewalks, handicap parking, those kind of things. I mean, we can, as far as I understand, we can assign, a value for their wages as part of our match. We have a meeting that's scheduled now on July 9th, a Zoom meeting with the grant people. And so I'm under the impression that even though the previous council approved this, that we probably need a current council to approve this as well. All right, Mr. Mayor?
I think upon completion of reconciliation of our financials, we'll be in a much better position to answer any questions regarding spending.
And to add to that, I think we have to know that before July 9th.
Absolutely will. I don't think we're going to know that by July 9th. Do you? Be close. Be close. Is we're trying to do 2+ years, 2 years and 3 months of data.
Steve, what's the July 9th date?
On July 9th is when we have actually, I think it's a city clerk. Has to be present at that, I think is what the wording was. The person who's going to handle the funds has to be there. And then I assume it'd be good for the mayor to be there, somebody on our committee to be there. That's easy. But, I mean, that's when the funds are supposed to be released.
The funds be released on July.
Right.
Have the grant documents been signed? I thought you said that.
Yes.
Well, where they awarded us the grant, I thought you said you just found out.
Well, thanks for that.
I don't know about that. Were they sent to the city or who was the
LOI
applicant?
It was LOI and Mary Kendrick who brought the information and told us that they had.
Who was the grant applicant? The city?
I don't know.
Because we're not the grant applicant, we're not on the thing. Whoever the applicant is.
Okay. This letter is from Patty Hubbard with Outdoor Rex and Grants Planner, Grant Management Section of Missouri State Parks.
I'm pretty sure they were just helping the city.
What if Kenny was the city there?
But I don't know that.
This is the email where they said that we'll have a meeting on July 9th. I'm not familiar with Patty Hubbard.
No change that. Do you have a copy of the application?
Oh, I think, do you have a copy of the application?
I do. I'm not aware where it's at.
Well, you got
Is it
one.
electronic?
You got one, or you were supposed to get one. They made one for you, put it that way.
But you got it.
I went to the LOI and picked this one up.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of the
Yes.
application? It'll tell you on there who was the,
Applicant.
yeah.
Well, the city
Okay.
is the
Yes,
applicant.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay. What we were just-
And how long would it take for you to get updated numbers for?
I contacted the playground equipment company a week or so ago, and I got an update quote.
Okay.
And it was raised from I think 238,000 to 264, almost 265,000 for playground equipment. Now, what I didn't do though is I didn't ask for an itemized list, and I probably should have done that.
Yeah.
And probably will have to, so that.
Yeah, so if we have to pick and choose.
Right. Right. In this application, there are a lot of pictures, or diagrams of, what kind of equipment, where it would go in the setting.
So does that have to go through the standard tree bid?
Oh, yes, definitely. DNR will require that.
Well, if I remember right, we got maybe more than one bid, I think, at the time.
So it's just a matter of going back and forth.
Yeah. Blake Rogers was here then, and we kind of worked with him on that, I think. But again, it's been 2 years ago, and I would have trouble telling you what I had for supper tonight. So
I'm sure you have to get more than one bid.
So you just may need to get updated.
actually, the reason I think we got two is because I think in my briefcase I have a bid from another company, but I'm not.
Would that be the third or the second?
It would have been a second one.
Yeah.
DNR will require 3 bids.
Three.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would not have got away with that grant.
Well, the grant, I mean, when we actually purchased, those are probably just estimates for the application. I'm talking
I think
about.
we probably did, but I can't swear to it because of.
Right, I mean,
the
what do you bet it is, it's outdated. But hopefully it wouldn't take them as long to just update the prices, as long as it's fixed.
They did give me an updated price.
Okay.
It was almost 265,000, where it was 239,000 2 years ago.
Right. So they were both about the same?
No, that's 20-some thousand.
No, I mean.
Oh, the other bid.
265, the other bid.
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's just been too much time.
Sure.
We thought we were going to find out about this last June. They told us last June that would be the day we would find out. And so here we're almost a year later finding out.
That grant cycle is notoriously slow. I mean, 2 years is not uncommon for the land and water conservation grant. Because it's the state, they offer the grant funds to the state, but then the feds have to approve it before they let the state award it.
Yeah, I told my principal it'd be a couple of years before I get something done.
Yeah.
Hasn't been out of the job. That's a year there.
So what do you need from us, Chief?
Well, I need for you to say yes. Go ahead. Improve North Park. Make it a park that people can enjoy. And no. One of the things that LOI did in the process of doing this grant application was that they did a survey of people in our community, and the survey results they said were outstanding in favor of doing this, and I think that's in this too. I think those are. I'm pretty sure I saw them, but they were really surprised at the number of results that they got from what they mailed out and how positive the results were.
Yeah, I don't think anyone would be opposed to not approving the park. What's the matter?
The finances are the question.
Yeah.
And you're allotted budget, right? For the purpose.
Which requires our match. Which requires our match.
Yeah, I
I think it,
No,
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 what
they're talking about using
their
their-
budgeted money.
their allotted budget,
Yeah,
yes.
not ours.
the week, I mean, no,
I think we have a Parks Act,
Yeah.
but it's all under the city.
Right, but it's appropriated and you had that amount of money in your fund, you're
Yeah.
talking about,
That would be
you're not asking for additional money, you're asking
No,
for
hopefully. no
whatever money is
additional
in
money.
your allotted.
Right. And I guess one other thing I didn't say was, since that 220,000 that was in our budget, I think there would have been at least one more cycle of tax money that should be in parks. Maybe two more, because I can't remember if that 220 was before. I think that money comes in September. That's what I think the mayor told me at one time.
And like,
And-
what kind of expenditures do you think you've had? Like, what could have?
Well, that brings up another question that I have. I read somewhere in information that I've kept that tax money was like $168,000 a year for parks, and so, but it doesn't all go. I mean, some of that is for the golf course gets some of it. One thing I'm a little confused about by this, and one of the budgets that I found is whether or not the swimming pool is getting parks money, because in the budget I have, well, even in this, it appears that the swimming pool is separate. And it used to be when Jackie Magburn worked here, that at our meetings, we talked about swimming pool, that it was part of the parks budget. Yeah, so.
The budget, the last budget I looked at, which was the budgetary estimate for 21-22, swimming pool was within the parks. And I can't, your number of 220 is pretty close, because that was what was in the estimate at the beginning balance.
Yeah.
But again, I have no factual information whatsoever.
I know, that's disturbing. And it's very possible that we have way more than $220,000 should have in our budget. And I guess the other thing that bothers me a little bit is I think it's against Missouri statute to spend parks money on something other than parks.
Well, until we have our financials completed, we can't tell you where it went. If it went anywhere, Steve, if it went anywhere. I mean,
but you all understand the urgency. We need to know. Anything else?
I'll just say, with regards to the publicated financial report, we don't have any verified financial records since September of 2022. So that is, in order to continue to conduct city business, we haven't published a report. We know it's not accurate in any way, and that's what we're working on now.
What this says here could be more accurate than you think on Missouri, on a park sales tax money, based off of what I had and what should have come in since what I had and what you had.
well, we can actually go back and look at 17, 18, 19, and 20 and actually see what those actuals are as a comparison of what taxes were deposited based on the budget. But you don't have this, but basically what it says is right now our current bank balance is $3.6 million. So we're not broke.
Right.
Problem is just what you said. Not only is it a problem for how the funds have been put together, there are only 3 accounts and 1 sub-account in our bank. So it's not like we have individual accounts for each one of the funds. If we did, I'm not sure it would be better or worse, but that's not how it's been done historically. So it's just a matter of getting the bank records reconciled. And at that point in time, we will have a much better idea of exactly what's in every fund. What you're speaking to doesn't affect just that fund. It affects gas, it affects water, sewer, it affects the electric department, it affects every other budget, the library, the fire department, it affects everybody. I don't know why you want to use the word equally, but it affects everyone. And so they're working on it as quickly as they can. I have absolutely nothing to offer on how or why not. The situation is what it is because none of us really were here. So we're just trying to pick up the pieces and put them all back together where they belong on the puzzle board. We'll get there, Steve. I don't know if it'll be done by July. I don't know that it will affect what's said in July. I mean, if this board wants to make a commitment to do what they said, what the previous board said they do, then so be it. It's their call. And I think the next meeting, we ought to bring it back up and see if we can get a little more, get the rest of the board members' input and what their thoughts are on it. Maybe we can move forward and we'll put it out there, lay it out there on the table for them to have a discussion, and we'll move forward on it. Decide to wait or move forward. It'll be their call. I'm certainly not against it. If you want to know what my perspective is I'd like to have the numbers. But
if the money's there, I think absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just asking for an answer before July 9th. And
you know, I think we'll be able to do it. I can't speak for this board, but I think we'll be able to do that.
thank you.
Thank you.
You want me back next month?
I hope so. I hope so. Okay, Mike, do you have anything for economic development?
No, at this time.
Okay, Jason, do you have anything for administrative committee?
No.
Okay. Chief James, do we have anything from public safety that you're aware of, or nuisance review board? Okay, thank you. Okay, let's move forward now. This is an announcement. Previously, I'm sorry, would someone want to say something? Okay, previously, water, electric, well, no, I guess not water he's here, but electric, gas, and street departments were advised they did not need to attend the regular meetings unless we had decided prior to the meeting to put them on the agenda for some specific item. If you all wish to change that, we can have that discussion. If there's a need to have them here and give reports, their reports are contained within the packets. So we do have the chief of police here. Do you have anything to report, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have started, in the past couple of weeks, getting a bunch of nuisances done up. Do not have the exact numbers for you right now, but I know we're close to around 18 out of that. Over half have already paid their properties. So we're going to continue going with that. We have a new policy going forward with all of the officers, kind of speed that process up. So hopefully we'll get some better results this year out of that. The second thing I have is the body cameras. We did give you all some quotes on those for this evening. Should be from Lens Lock, Safe Fleet, and Axon. I would like to request that we go with the Lens Lock. Like I said, right now we're operating with one body camera for all of our officers for all shifts. So in a matter of time before that one finally gets out. How it hasn't yet, I'm not sure.
Are the county prosecutors still on these all the time too?
Yes, they're one used for pretty well every case that goes to any of our state courts. There's not a body camera video. That severely decreases the likelihood of prosecutions inside the courts at this point. So not only that, but it also is a big deterrent on the scenes. People see the body cameras there. Their actions are typically a lot better than when we don't have them. They're willing to push buttons a whole lot more whenever they don't see that camera staring back at them. Lens lock. Did you have?
Yeah, I know you said something about you were gonna trial some systems, were they?
Yes, we have not got those in to be trialed. A lot of that is on our end. We've had a couple of people out, so getting them here to be tried, it's more on our end, not the company side.
Okay.
But no, we were not able to get those. However, I have gotten hold of a couple of departments that use lens lock. They love it. This is the best customer service they've had. They've had no issues, quick turnarounds if there's problems. There's damage to the cameras. They said typically within 24 hours after sending theirs out, they're already getting their replacement back. So they said they are very good, very easy to work with. Looking at the numbers, so each of these will come in around $25,000 over a 5-year contract. They're all relatively close to that. The one big factor that I would point out to you is for lens lock, you have unlimited data for storing videos. Outside of that, everything else between these companies is relatively the same. You're going to get the same function and features out of the cameras. They've got everything we need. It'll also help us cut back a little bit on having to buy DVDs, burn all these videos to send to the prosecutors, as well as our retention system. Right now, we're going through a terabyte to a 3 terabyte hard drive per year, trying to store these videos, as well as hundreds upon hundreds of DVDs going out to prosecutors. So that adds up very quickly. All 3 of these have a cloud storage that we're going to be able to use. And that is where lens lock, in my opinion, is going to be our best option. We have no cap there on how much data we can store. Safely and Exxon both have a maximum storage amount. I believe they're 100 gigabytes, which
That doesn't go very far.
is not very far, especially when you're talking about the fact that we're using up 1 to almost 3 terabytes every year.
Yeah.
And that is over the term of this contract. So every year we're going to have to cut down to 20% of that 100 gigabytes so we can actually save. Anything we go over, we're going to be increasing price on. So we're going to be paying that premium out. As we're lens lock, we do not have to worry about that. Plus, lens lock also does professional redaction services. So in the event that we have things that need redaction, so that's juveniles being in there in the video or people that are not related to the incident, we send the video off to them. Within 24 hours, it's back to us. We can now take these videos, send a link directly to our prosecutors. They now have the video. We don't have to worry about putting all these copies off the censor.
I could tell everybody that say hundreds of man-hours.
And DVDs are exactly new technology.
Yeah, no, and
And then if
it takes a large amount.
modify them.
It takes a large amount of time. Each one of our prosecutors has a different system that they are able to use the videos through, so they have to reformat depending on where they're going. And we use 4 different prosecutors. We have, of course, City, Mary, Monroe levels. So it turns into quite a hassle. But that would be my proposal, and my request is we go with lens lock. It says at $24,975. That's what we locked at. We're not going to be looking at anything over that as where these others, although they are relatively close. You have to do $10,000 up front for equipment on one, entire time spent, so.
Are there any grants that would help with that at all?
There's the possibility of grants, however, without having the financials, it's gonna be very hard.
Yeah.
Yes, so Monroe does help with these. They will do one of the devices. So we can still apply for that at the end of the year. That's when that grant comes up. So even if we've already purchased it, we can still apply for that grant, and they can go back and refund us on that portion of it. Like I said, Lynn's Lock, like I said, as far as having to do the upfront costs, it's definitely be the easiest. It's going to be a smaller amount every year rather than one large amount, and then having to continue that for every year for that 5-year contract. So.
And the unlimited data storage is huge.
Yes, that's great.
I will entertain a motion to approve the bid from Lynn's Lock, which is the chief's recommendation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of purchasing the cameras from Lynn's Lock, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chief, very much.
I appreciate it. Thank
We
you.
appreciate all you do.
Pretty quick, at the same time.
What was that?
Seems like you're getting pretty quick.
Yes, they do have a quick turnaround. We definitely appreciate that. Outside of that, we don't have anything further this time. We've been extremely busy.
Motorola batteries for the handheld.
Oh, okay, yeah. We do have 4 Motorola batteries. They come in for a total of $376.64. We tried to go through a secondary company approximately 8-9 months ago to get batteries replaced, and they are already shot.
Batteries for what? What are the batteries for that?
They're for these radios.
Oh.
Out of the 4 we purchased 10, only 1 is still operational, and it's only operational for an hour and a half, which is they're all shot from 12.
Yeah.
So I would request that we actually go with the Motorola replacement batteries that have chips in them that are supposed to allow them to be conditioned. It's where the third-party providers do not. So
What's the approximate total of that?
$376.64. They have a listed price of $128.99, and we were able to get it for $99.60.
$378.64. Okay.
Well, we need a motion to approve the expenditure for the Motorola batteries as requested by the chief. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
We have a motion. We have a second.
Okay. All right.
We have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of Motorola batteries. All in favor, please say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. You get your batteries, sir.
We appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I have, unless anybody has any questions. Okay, dovetail off one thing. Nuisances was brought up. So the way the police and I have been handling these with the council's approval is, our view is that a nuisance summons, we want it cleaned up. We're not out looking to fine people. So basically, if they come to court and it isn't cleaned up, they have a month then to clean it up. They come back, then we proceed with a fine. But is everybody okay with that approach? Or
It's fine.
I mean, I don't view it as we're not the money making fine business for nuisances. We just want it cleaned up. Yes. And that's our hammer to get people to. Yes, we do throw out options and resources whenever we do come in contact with people, because a lot of them, they're not aware of the resources they have. So we do throw a lot of those resources out. Like I said, whenever it gets into the court process, there's a great amount of time for the courts to be able to make that change happen. So.
Are the majority of these grass or?
The majority of them that we're dealing with right now now are addressed. However, there is a bunch out there that are going to be disabled vehicles and just junk debris. Kind of goes that way. Yes. It's one thing that I do see changing this year is in the past we've had to restart every time. So if we go and talk with an individual, we give them the abatement notice, they abate it, we go back 3 weeks later, they're right back in the same conditions already, and we have to go back and tell them it's abatement notice, eating up a severe amount of time. So at this point, the way the ordinance and policy reads, give them the abatement notice one time, they let it return back to that, they've already received their warning, they know it cannot be in those conditions, and they go ahead and pull the citation and go to court. So that would cut down tremendously.
Is, Carnes and, what's the name on that list?
We've got a list right now to get addressed. We're upwards of 60 to get addressed right now. The big thing is not overwhelming the prosecutor. Because these are not simple, not easy. They could take a lot of time. So trying to get 10 through in a month is kind of going to be where we're looking at.
But a lot of people are really good about getting it taken care of, but then there's a few that just pretty combative, and I want to try it all.
So, and once you get into businesses, the nuisances for them are quite a bit different than what you would deem nuisances for private residents.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, so one of the big ones is mechanic shops. An unregistered car sitting on a mechanic shop. It could be a car that's being fixed at that moment to be able to pass inspection, to be able to be re-registered. So there's certain steps there that we have to take to make sure that we're on the up with that. But there is going to be an officer that is designated only for businesses, so he will be involved with them, only them, and staying on top of that.
Yeah, because he's living in the RV, someone is living in the RV, and the shed.
Yeah. So those are things that will be being addressed here very soon. Cool. Anything else?
Not supposed to do this.
We appreciate it. Thank you all.
No. I want to clarify something for the members in the gallery. The City of Monroe City has an ordinance on the books, Section 2.08.130, addressing the board. The ordinance states, no person shall be allowed to address any meeting of the board of aldermen or discuss any questions pertaining to the transaction of any business before any meeting of the board, except upon invitation or permission of a majority of the aldermen present at such meeting. If this board would like to entertain comments from the gallery at this time, I would need a motion, a second, and a vote of the majority. No motion? We move forward. Okay. Fire department?
I really don't have anything right now. Everything's on space.
Well, that's what we want.
Still waiting on, getting an email back about the 8-inch mortars to finish out the 4th of July program. But other than that, about it.
Excellent, thank you. On the airport, Mr. Buckland is unable to be here tonight. His report is that everything's going okay at the airport. We're still waiting on the beacon light bulbs and the windsock that got blown away. And it looks like upcoming, the Holy Rosary kindergarten kids will have their field trip at the airport on Monday morning at 8:30.
Did you say anything about the card reader for the gas?
No, he did not. No, he did not. Okay, next thing on the agenda is the contract services renewal for Mosswood Golf Course. Mr. City Attorney, do you have some information on that?
So we requested, I reached out to Michael and asked for financials because that was one of the conditions on the contract. he sent us a profit and loss, passed that on to the mayor. We had some other questions, so the mayor did. So we reached out to Michael for some more breakdowns on the categories of where it went. So he had Corge and was going to get it to us. So my thinking is we should wait until we have a better idea of the financials before we move forward on that.
One of the things that came out during the review, and it's definitely new information to me, I'm sure be new information to anyone in the public. State statutes prevent a current board from encumbering any future administrations with financial debt or obligation. The only way that can be done is, when we say future, so a contract means going forward, future. So only way that can be done is through the voters approving a bond issue, in which there's a stated amount, there's a stated purpose. So the contract, once we get everything ironed out, will be for a one-year period. It'll have to be renewed each year, so each new administration has an opportunity to review the performance and make their determinations. I know it's new, but it's the only way we can do it and do it legally. And one of the things that we announced, I think early on, it's one of the goals of this board, and I think I speak for everybody up here, is to, going forward, we're going to make every attempt to do things by the book, the way they're supposed to be done. And then if the board wants to change an ordinance or make an amendment to an ordinance, we'll go through the process and do it the correct way. And that's all I've got to say about that. So you think we'll have something for the next meeting?
I think so. I mean, just as Emily keeps the books, so it's following quick books, so I think it was kind of.
So where was that conversation with Michael about breaking it down a little bit?
When?
Yeah,
A couple days ago.
and so you had got a y'all didn't get another email, updated email? Okay.
He had for like a trial.
Right.
Said you were going to be okay.
Put that on the agenda for the next meeting, please. Marshall contracts renewal.
May I ask a question?
Yes, because it's relative to this.
It is. So how is this particular contract for services, for management of a city property, different than, say, the people services contract that we commit? Don't we commit for that for 1 year? How is that? And that's just a dumb question. I really want to know. Is this different?
I mean, my thinking is that on the golf course, it's just good business to look at it every year. I mean,
Which is the way it's written, we're supposed to anyway.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. Well, the biggest difference is we're contracting with an entity to provide a service for city-owned property.
Just like people services.
People services is not required to necessarily show a profit that they can continue their operation. We pay them. All we're asking for the board to do in the financial application for the golf course is to show the city that they're operating efficiently enough that ongoing we don't have to pay them more to operate that. It's this definitely from a business perspective, because we are paying them for operating, and thank you, George Spalding and the Spalding family for their very generous contribution to the city back in 1984. I'm not trying to, in any way, shape, or form denigrate that. But again, we have to look at lack of business. And yes, you're going to find this board is going to ask more questions. They're going to dig deeper than maybe done before. We're going to probably do things differently than the way it's been done before. But I assure you that our intention is to do everything to the best of our ability to meet the ordinances on the book and to agree with the state statutes so that we're not putting ourselves in jeopardy in the future. That's the only explanation I can give you, Debbie.
So the fact that it's not for-profit entity, does that have anything to do with making it different?
Moss was a not-for-profit entity. And if we, and I went back and did some digging just because I was curious, if we didn't own, if the city didn't own that, and Penny, you're familiar with this, if the city didn't own that property, we wouldn't be able to provide one penny to Mosswood to operate it.
Unless we were under contract for services.
No, even then we couldn't do it. We cannot, the state law says we can't even give a nonprofit money. Correct, Mr. Russell?
Yeah, you can't give
We can't.
away the tax money.
We can't give away the taxpayers' funds to basically anybody, any nonprofit. We had a lawyer's, it wasn't even a lawyer, it was a state auditor, said that had we not owned Mosswood, we would be in violation by having the contract with Mosswood. Does that answer your question?
Just raise like 17,000 more, but that was per case, that you understand where you're coming from.
Okay, thank you.
So Mosswood has one other thing, and do I have to wait, put it on the agenda for the next time?
For what?
We are requesting the Spalding, testamentary,
Oh, that's right.
yes, fund. To cut us a check, we need some equipment.
Okay, under the trustees' requirements for, I can't think of the names on the top of the trust fund. I'm sorry.
It's Albert.
I can remember Deborah Jan, but I can't remember the rest of Albert
Albert.
and Deborah Jan's local trust. What was required was that the City of Monroe City submit to HNB, which is the trustee, what those funds were applied to. That letter was sent out January 24th to Hamel National Bank to tell them what those funds were used for, which was the requirement. It was the stated requirement of the trust. So, barring some other information, I was under the impression we'd done what we were supposed to do.
Besides having cut them a check. Right. We
That-
haven't got the money.
No.
Does HNB need something more from the city?
They just need you to contact, I've got a copy of the letter that explains everything. You just have to let them know what we've spent it on.
She's a contact person, Cindy Cowan. Okay, I messaged her this week, with that letter that was dated January 24th.
Okay.
And it outlines the expenses on there.
So do we have the money? Are we, or did? Yeah, somebody came to us. So yeah, we need that check. Yeah.
I thought HNB was still holding the funds, so.
No.
Okay.
No, they cashed the money. We deposited money in city's account for our equipment. $4,310.59.
Is there a reason why the city is then required to provide to the trustee once money was spent? So what they provided was,
Since we own the golf course and Mosswood, we have the contract for services for them to run it, but it's still ours. That's how I understand it.
so then whatever they spend that money on, they have to give us the documentation to give back to the bank.
You just have to tell her.
Okay, fine.
You just send her a little email or whatever, that says we spent it on equipment, which is what we're spending it on this year. The equipment for the lawnmowers.
Good enough. Anything else?
No.
All right.
Thank you.
At this time, we will review the presentation of the bills and approval of payments.
Water, we didn't do water. Do you have any?
I apologize. George, do you have something you want to bring forward?
I just wanted to let you know that we got that leak out on County Line Road repaired today right there at the entrance to Lake View, where the ditch is always wet.
Oh, cool.
It should dry up, but it is awful flat there. It's still going to hold water, but hopefully
It was a small leak, didn't you? I always say.
it was a little bit larger than what I expected.
Oh.
But we were able to fix it without shutting anything off. It was simply 2 bolts had rotted off and allowed the packing gland to expand, and then it was leaking out around the packing gland. With the recent rains, our sewer plant has been inundated with water. We normally get water about 200,000 gallons a day. We've been running up between 1.5 and 2 million gallons a day. So I'm hoping to get out and do some smoke testing in the near future to try to figure out where this water's coming from. I'm assuming a lot of it's going to be sump pumps, it's going to be gutters, it's going to be, other drains that are going into the sewer system that shouldn't be there. Because as soon as it rains, well, within 15, 20 minutes, our flow is just going up. So it's an immediate, really quick burst of water coming. So that's why I'm thinking possibly roof drains and such that are going somehow into the sanitary system.
The sewer lines are cracked.
It could be, but the water would then have to permeate down 6 to 18 foot, depending upon the sewer main, go through that crack to get to us. And if there was a conduit straight down like that, it would open up, kind of like the one over at Elm and Rogers. If you stop by there, you'll see there's a barricade up because they bored right through our sewer line, and so the CCOM is going to fix that one. So if anybody has seen that, pardon?
Was that Sheridan Valley?
Yes, it was, yeah. And they actually bored through 3 lines that they're going to be fixing. One of them's on the other 2 are private. So I'm glad they're going to fix it. But I think we'll end up finding where the boring companies have caused us much more damage than what we currently are aware of once I start smoke testing. But water plant, we're starting to fill down at what used to be the landing water park. So we went from operating 5 days a week to roughly 10 to 12 hours a day. Our water usage went from 200,000 gallons a day to almost 500,000 at the water plant. So we're pushing the water out. That's all I got, unless somebody has anything for me. Pardon?
I didn't know we served the land.
Well, we serve Cannon Water District, which is who serves Landing, and they buy all their water from Clarence Cannon, and they can't get enough water from Clarence Cannon to supply the Landing whenever they're drawing hard. So that's why we have 2 interconnections with them that we sell them water.
Would you mind telling the board what our increase is in this average increase approximately is in the summer months and who it goes to?
Yeah, we send Cannon water up to 5 million gallons a month during the summer. That's what it takes to service their, what we can service from them on a monthly basis.
No, you mean Cannon Water, not Clarence.
Yes, that's if I said Clarence Cannon, I didn't mean
correct.
Yeah, no, Cannon Water, and they come all the way up, and they border us on one side, and Marion County Water borders us on the other side. So just so you know, we are landlocked. We cannot expand our water system any further because we cannot go onto their region.
A city residential customer, after the first 5,000 gallons, pays $7.58 per thousand. What does Cannon pay?
They are, I believe, somewhere right around $5.
Around $5.
I looked at that contract. I could not find it. Of course, my contract is older, and I know that it has been updated. So,
do you think that you have the latest contract?
No, I have a contract.
Okay.
I have no idea where the newest contract is. I had got a copy from Jackie of both the Marion County and the Cannon Water contract.
contract way back when.
Well, that's something we'll want to look at going forward. Thank you very much, George.
No problem.
Well, we need to make sure there's nothing besides.
Okay, presentation, did I get everybody? Okay, great, thank you very much. I'm moving on. Presentation of bills and approval of payments, start with accounts payable, it's in your packet. Thankfully, everyone had this, hopefully Tuesday night electronically, and you've had an opportunity to review it. Does anyone have any questions? Mike?
Question. I think we have overlapping contracts for the elevator maintenance.
We will be discussing those
Okay.
separately in the new business, but that's a very good point and a very good observation. Thank you, Mike.
What's your Reinhardt's utility fixtures? 5,824.
The fixtures for the utility pole, I'm not 100%.
Oh, for the utility street lights. Okay, okay, all right. And then the US Cellular, did we ever figure out that? No. I think we had phones.
Right now, I'm just trying to get a phone tree mapped out of what is going where, what we own.
I've got the yes,
So I was recently talking to Sheridan Valley about phone lines as well. Just trying to figure out what all our phone trees are.
I think of the 10 or 12 that we worked on so far, we have at least 8 that we're fairly confident we can shut down. There's about 3 more, and there's some DSL that got run down. It's about $1,093 a month. Part of that, I think, goes cheap.
Along those lines with the phones on the Wi-Fi's for the police department.
Do you know can you identify which one it is?
No, so we have the mobile Wi-Fi's inside of the cars. We're also looking with BTT FirstNet. They give government discount. So we're currently taking.
Good.
We'll get that also.
Okay. Well, I will get with you to see if I can learn a bit more about it. I got that stack on my desk. I'm trying to wade through. So thank you. I appreciate that.
It just seems like almost $2,000 for cellular cell phones.
$3 phone stuff. You're probably going to get most of that knocked out. What are you looking at?
Well, it's just
US Cellular.
phone service.
Yeah, the US Cellular 1900.
I
think that's because there was a month that was missed due to.
So it could be more than 1 month. And then,
Mayor, didn't you say that you signed a bunch of checks, but those were already approved for accounts payable, right?
What was?
You said you had to sign a bunch of checks.
Oh, those were already approved by the previous.
Okay.
that
Before
1920.
us. Oh yeah, this is very favorable compared to what we
So I was
signed
expecting
on
much
last
bigger, but
year.
those were already approved.
Yes,
They just haven't been paid.
that's correct.
That US Cellular bill, and we the past due balance of $1,094.
So use around 900 then. And then Marco Technology, IT services. What is Marco?
Marco is our IT coordinator, they manage our Office 365, Word, PowerPoint, Excel, Suites, our emails. They're the ones that manage all that. The subscription.
And what are we doing? What are we doing towards Marco? You don't want to go into that.
I'm right now trying to figure out their current labor rates and the cost for IT services, engineers. I have most of them, I'm still waiting for stuff.
When you say they manage, what does that mean? I don't know the unique. I don't manage. Have somebody manage. I don't know what that.
Give her an example. When I asked for an email, what happened?
When you ask for an email.
What happened?
We got a request for billable approval.
What did the request cost?
Request was $250 for the IT engineers. They put it to do that, plus some additional labor costs for the amount of time.
You mean the email drafting?
Yes.
The mayor at monroecity.org costs about $400 and some. Just ask for it and get it done. I asked him what we're doing about Marco for a reason. We're going down a different path. We're going to try to find a different source for our IT. And I know that you've had Chief James involved and the police department, and Alex is taking this and running with it, and I'm encouraging him.
You let me know who you go to so I can fire them too. I have Marco too. I want to get rid of him.
Debbie, when we figure something out that makes sense, we're going to call you out.
I would love that.
According to Dan Fisher, our sales representative, we don't have an official contract. 5%. I don't know what the whole deal is. We do have contracts for certain for the police department, printer, copier services. We also have a maintenance plan, but they just manage our services. I don't know entirely how this came to being.
Do you know how to make it unbeing?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, if we unbeamed it, what are we losing? I mean,
We would have to migrate all of our emails over, and we would have to get access to all this stuff, I don't know, information-wise.
migrate our emails, no, or you, well, city police have done.
If you,
I mean, we're paying for this.
When we go to the .gov, won't that help?
it'll help a lot. The .gov domain is free, but we should really keep the old domain to forward it to the new one.
Well,
But that's only like $40 a
Okay,
year.
okay, we can do that.
But if you're on M365 now, if you go with another company that's already on M365, it's a much easier transition.
And I've reached out to Tigerhawk Technologies, Campbell, they're local, much cheaper, and I use them personally. They're very solid on PC repair,
You know them?
all managed.
Have you talked to?
Okay.
Out of Troy,
I've never heard of them.
a couple people have recommended them.
Okay.
I would say Tigerhawk.
Well, Alex and company are going to keep moving forward on this because we kind of decide we're bleeding money that we may not be needing to bleed.
Okay, another question, sorry about that, Marco. Domingo Software is police, my bad. Record manager, 5,230.53.
If I understand it correctly, it's what they use to pull up information on people they pull over or something. I'm not 100% certain.
Chief?
Do you know what
The
that
back
is?
of it, yeah.
Domingo Software.
I'm gonna go, that's our reporting software. So that's what all of our incidents goes into.
Is that past due amount included in there?
Is that annual or monthly?
This is 6 months, so.
Oh, okay.
Well, there's 2 payments, they total almost $9,000, or over $9,000.
Yeah, and I had this flag, I actually want to talk to the chief on this as well. One of them is for record management, mobile control, e-tickets, accidents, and video streaming and quality. The other one was for PA portal and court administration. And I just didn't know, I didn't know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we still, so that is actually unavoidable. The way the courts have moved everything is on no courts, so it all has to be electronic. So this is our way of making everything electronic within our reporting system to where the prosecutors can.
Is that a monthly fee, 6 months, annual?
6 months,
Yeah.
which is from May to the end of October.
And then my last one is UMB, is that our payment to the bank?
That is our interest on our pool, bonds that we have, it's just interest on the night. The next payment will be the principal. I have that send you the amortization schedule, but I didn't have that. Oh, that's it. The next one will be with principal and interest. This one was 13,656.5.
13,240.52.
Okay. The next payment will be in November for a total of $88,000. 56, with a 75,000 big principal. How much is that? Oh, about,
1/8.
about 3.
Don't be surprised.
7.
When is that paid off? Is there a final date on?
33.
What was that question?
When is it paid off?
Oh.
23.
Well, I won't be here. Where are you going?
I'm in Ross County Electric.
Either there or there. I don't know where I'm going.
Not the water plant or the wastewater plant, no. It would be, the pump house down at Route J probably.
Oh, okay.
And then maybe the water tower, and there's a lift station out on Industrial. I know that,
Okay.
there's some in Ross County.
And it also includes the railroad collection, which we in turn built, in,
15 years.
Is that
Would be 80.
yeah.
I
Well,
won't be here.
these
There's
are background.
background.
Yeah.
So that's my big one piece on that.
We can lower our rates.
You can just take your hurdle down.
Did you hear that? Is this being recorded?
No.
Can you edit that part out? Probably. Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve bills payable if there are no other questions.
I'll make the motion to approve and approve payment of the bills as presented.
I do have a question. Is the mowing for ovals, like, I think that's Elite Home Care, do we have to approve that for them to be able to get their check?
That's a good question. How does that?
We went, is what we did, the mayor's office, after reading the contract, that said that we would pay them upon presentation of the invoice. Previous board approved it. I cannot disapprove it, so I'll authorize them to make the payment when they present it. Okay. Previous board approved it. I'm thinking we're good. If we're not, someone say so.
Okay, that's all I just.
That's the motion we made last month. That's good.
And we were trying to go down that road, and it failed. It failed on my end.
Yeah, you can't really override anything inside of the three.
Well,
Hey, Dan.
well, yeah, I get it every day. Well, unless the board has a problem, we're going to continue on what the previous board did. So are we good to ask for, did we have a motion?
Yeah.
Do we have a second?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second for bill, to approve bill payable. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, we have approved the bills payable. Going back to the agenda, the next thing is is new business, approve the city attorney contract. I'm guessing that you've all had a chance to look at that. If you have any questions for the city attorney, to direct them to his attention at this time.
Oh, sure don't know.
Get to my worship fast.
Nicest, cleanest contract I've ever read in my life.
All right, I like it that way.
I'll make the motion to accept.
We have a motion to approve the contract for employment of the city attorney, Mr. John Russell. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Darn. Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the contract for the employment of the city attorney. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have a contract approved.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you for what you do, John. I don't get to talk a lot. Yeah, we go around approval. You know, most of the time y'all are bad news. So. All right, next thing, who's going to handle this discussion of the dual contract for the same service? City clerk? Alex, step forward, Alex. Explain to us what's going on.
So I got a call from a gentleman named Tony. They were wanting to get legal involved with this whole process because they have another company, Bernard Elevator, running maintenance on, but and their contract is their equipment, and I don't know why they're wanting to do that. The problem, as I have understood it, was that it was just as I was coming in, the Coney contractor who was going in there and doing elevator repair wasn't signing the clipboard that shows that it's been serviced. So I believe at the time it was under the impression that they weren't servicing it. So the old city administrator, I don't know if she had permission from the board or not to terminate the contract, but I guess she tried to, and they're under the impression that they're still doing the contract, and Bernard Elevator is now maintaining our elevator. And
The termination agreement with Coney says you can only terminate it at the end of every third year. You have to give a 90-day notice.
And I believe that time had just passed by the time we'd gotten that contract from them. They did provide, and it is attached to the documents inside your packet, that they did have service on those elevators. The guy who was servicing them never signed a clipboard, which big no-no. But if you also look attached, there are invoices, which I believe are totaled at $4,986 for unpaid invoices.
I think we were in arrears.
Yes.
Okay, that makes more sense.
I will say, though, the amount paid quarterly at the start of the contract was $510, $170 roughly a month. However, since this contract, I believe, started several years ago, that price has increased by almost half and then some. I believe 1,200 roughly. And
So this 1228 is just for 1 quarter?
Just for 1 quarter as opposed to the initial contract, whereas Bernard Elevator is much closer, newer contract, and they're $187.50 a month. They have a 5-year contract renewal with a 90-day termination notice, I believe at any point in time, whereas Coney's is on renewal. Not too sure what options are kind of available due to the renewal being past the termination point, but
What's the cause for breaking the contract?
we were under the impression at the time, or at least the city administrator was under the impression that they were not servicing the elevator because there's no input on the clipboard that goes to the elevator. And that's why she broke the contract with them.
Obviously, she did break the contract.
Yeah. I don't know if she had board approval and based on.
I know we had trouble with the elevator, but I didn't know that she was wanting to do that.
So,
I remember you all put it
what's it called?
We talked about problems that we've had with the elevator. All right, but one thing.
Who owns the equipment we need?
I believe we own the equipment. Coney just services it. And the reason why they're kind of inactivity is not all the unpaid invoices, but they have another contractor maintaining their equipment as stated in the contract that they have with us.
So they're mad that we're going with somebody else.
Yes.
While we're in the middle of a contract with them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the question, what is the penalty? Surely there's gotta be a penalty.
Yeah.
90-day notice.
In the
It has
contract,
to be done at the end, after the
sort of in the contracts,
which when does that end?
I believe that ended several days, I think last week, towards the beginning of the month. And it just passed by the time we had noticed it. However, due to the factors involved, we decided it would be best to bring this to council.
So what are you proposing we do?
I believe it's our general recommendation to go with Bernard Elevator, best we can. They're much closer. Coney's based out of St. Louis, and
Who was the previous who was the?
Coney was the previous, Bernard is the current that we have. I don't believe Coney has done any additional maintenance since the city administrator kind of kicking them out, really.
Well, we're still paying them though. Because it went from, and
the contract just renewed.
It did just renew.
so yeah.
So isn't there a notification of a contract renewal?
I haven't gotten any, and I don't think through all the emails I've been wrapped through that there has been a notice of it. It is stated in the contract that there would be increases or decreases based on cost of equipment, labor, and.
Right. Well, in February, end of February, it's $1,228. Beginning March, it's $1,301. So I don't know how it keeps fluctuating.
It's just constantly.
If it's automatically renewed, I don't know how.
It says,
Yeah, and they're automatic, they're not renewed under the 2004 prices.
says that if the parties acknowledge that the delayed notice of termination shall constitute a material breach of contract. So what's the penalty of breach of contract?
We would have to pay anything in arrears and I believe the equipment or whatever they deem. They said that there's several options for that, as well as any taxes involved, but due to being a no tax entity, I don't think that would apply.
So just arrears and then whatever the equipment is? I mean,
It's gotta be cheaper than paying two people to do the same job.
Especially when one's quite literally almost an arm and a leg.
Yeah. And they do it every, 90 days?
90-day termination notice. That
But I mean, the service is usually every 90 days, right?
supposedly, I think they come every month, but we get billed quarterly.
Okay.
So what you're asking the board to do is terminate the contact with Coney. We'll have to comply with the requirements for the early termination and then move forward.
okay,
Good.
this invoice that's in here is March 01, 2024 to May 31st, 2024.
Correct.
So has this been paid, you know?
Not by my knowledge, Mayor.
Neither
Don't
one of
believe
these,
so.
neither one of these.
What's the second one?
Well, one's December.
Oh, that's in arrears. Right.
Those are the invoices that the representative gave me. For
Here's another.
I believe $4,986.
They're saying we owe them $4,936.
Yeah, there's two for 1,200 and one for 1,300.
Does that mean they submitted these obviously prior to April and they just weren't paid?
I don't know if they were submitted or emailed with the jumbling that occurred towards the beginning of the year.
Can we go back and make sure? Can we go back and make sure that we didn't pay them? Is that possible?
Yeah, so I was thinking. I don't
I-
pay them twice.
I'm leaning towards terminating the contract. I want to know specifically what the penalties are if we terminate it after the contract's renewed.
And do we have a copy, like a folder with all the notices they gave us of rate increases, or have you seen anything?
I have not seen anything yet, sir. I can reach back out to the representative and see if I can get some more information regarding that.
What you're saying is if they did not notify us of the rate increases, then they voided the contract.
It's an argument.
Okay.
That we can also say because they weren't writing down the arbitrary, which I believe is a requirement.
We'll need to do it vote or something.
Otherwise, we don't know. There's
Yeah,
no proof that
if
they
it
did.
fails and somebody dies. then we
Yeah,
have to
or get
call
stuck and, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that the board is desirous of canceling the contract with Coney. We would ask the city attorney to draft a letter to them explaining our position on them reaching the contract by not performing their requirements under the contract relative to increase in cost. And then, we'll just continue on with the other company because we're already under contract, and we're already paying them. Is that about right?
Yes.
We would pay them our past balance,
That's what
right?
we say, but we do it.
We would pay them our past, what we owe them.
Yeah, I want to make sure we have.
No,
That's what you
Russell.
say. Okay, that's what you say.
So that would be dependent upon the coming, recommendation resolution after you send the letter to them. You want to go ahead and make a motion to terminate the contract?
Maxwell.
I'll make a motion to terminate the contract with Tony.
Okay, we have a motion to terminate the contract with Coney. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All in favor of termination of contract with Coney, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, there we have it. The motion passes to cancel the contract with Coney. I made a slight error during the presentation, bills, approval, payments. I was supposed to present to the board a purchase order requisition from the city of Monroe City to Autodesk for the purchase of a annual license for the Autodesk AutoCAD LT that's used by our gas department to maintain the maps and mapping. They've been unable to do that for 2 years. I told them I would bring it to the board for approval to the amount of $505.
And what does that do?
So they can print the,
Oh,
for the water, like that map will spread it out.
So I would need a motion to approve this purchase of $505.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the Autodesk AutoCAD LP for an approximate cost of $505. All in favor?
aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Pass that down, please. Apologize for that. Okay, I'm going to announce this next item on the new business, and I'm going to ask a question of the fire chief. This is a request for a Big George's fireworks permit to allow the sale of fireworks within the city limits of the city of Monroe City. Before the chair will accept the motion, I'd like to have a short discussion with the fire chief. Would you please step forward? Could you please step forward so we can have a little discussion here at the podium, please? What does MIRMA say about firing, the discharge of fireworks in the city of Monroe City limits?
We don't have MIRMA insurance, so I can't tell you that.
Okay, but the city of Monroe City does.
But the city does, yes. Big George has been putting this fireworks show.
Oh, I'm not even going down that road. I have no problem with Big George.
This is
I'm concerned. What happens is when we allow the sale of fireworks in the city limits, they shoot fireworks in the city limits, which has been approved. A board approved it.
Absolutely.
Back in 2006, 2009, a different board, upon information received from the fire chief at that time and information from our insurer, said that our rates would go down if we stopped shooting fireworks within the city because it reduced the potential for a fire. My question is, and I'm going to have to go, I guess, to MIRMA and ask this question. Did passing that resolution to allow fireworks being discharged in the city of Monroe City increase our costs of insurance? And to you, does it increase our risk?
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we get a rating and then it flows through to everybody's homeowner's policies. Is that right? I mean, yeah. That's how, so the city doesn't pay what we each could pay the fire homeowners insurance.
So the city has no liability whatsoever for allowing it to occur?
The city is not a sponsor.
I'm not talking about George. I'm talking about the city allows citizens to discharge fireworks. They didn't used to.
I mean, I would guess the city always has liability.
Okay.
I mean, so it's a discussion to have, is my thinking, because are we, I mean, to get into brass tacks, like, are we enforcing the ordinance? How are we enforcing it?
It's very difficult to
When-
enforce.
Right, it's very difficult.
Very
to
difficult
enforce.
to enforce.
Right now, it's just certain days and certain times, and it's next to impossible for anybody to enforce.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
So
I
we're
don't
not-
disagree
no,
with
I
that.
think there is a situation where we could be at risk for allowing it.
All right.
What that risk is, I can't tell you.
All right.
It's there.
Well, maybe I'll discuss them for another time in another year, maybe.
And even
Thank
when,
you.
even when they, they denied them before on selling in town, all they did was went out to W and.
I'm
Right.
fully aware,
Right there.
fully aware.
That's
And,
it.
and the discussion was not about whether we should or shouldn't. I don't have a problem
Yeah.
with the permit at all.
I don't think flood sales tax.
They shouldn't.
It should be.
Do they?
That, you're talking about the no tax dues?
No. People.
Right.
Flood sales tax.
Yeah, they should be.
They do. It just seems like it's always an even number when you go out there, like $3.
Well, they can
They can
include
make
it
that.
in the price.
All right, so, the board has for, a request to approve the, permit for Big George's Fireworks. Do we have a motion to approve?
Someone's.
So move, we have a second? Okay, all in favor of approving the permit for Big George's Fireworks, please say aye. Opposed, nay. The motion passes. Next item on the agenda is IT support for administration. Who will be discussing that? Alex, please step forward.
So, as you are probably well aware of, current discussions with Monroe prices and customer support services have been expensive, kind of unreliable in all over the places. And as I mentioned, I've been reaching out to different companies like Tiger Hawk, and hopefully soon some recommendations Mike had to try to get better pricing and stuff for IT support, technical support from other companies that specialize in that. Same thing with copiers, printers and stuff. The PD's printer and copier has been on the fritz for quite a while. I don't believe they're able to fax anything out, which is an issue with their current position. I've done some patchwork with it, and we discovered recently that Monroe and the PD have a maintenance policy that they'll be able to get that fixed. However, with Monroe prices and labor and all that, it could be a 500 job. Normally for other companies, it's more like 700 to 1,000, depending on how long it takes. For IT support, I have more numbers downstairs. I'm waiting for comparisons from Tiger Hawk to give a better idea. But as mentioned, just for an IT specialist to come and change our emails, for example, is $250 plus a whole mess of other things for labor and trying to get it all worked out. And it's almost money for every 15 minutes worth of work. Where that's not uncommon with some IT companies, but their rates are just really high. Speaking with several representatives of companies so far, it's been kind of a general consensus that Monroe is trying to flush out a lot of the smaller organizations so they can have more big organizations. I can't really verify that, but just what two representatives have told me, because they're now servicing more municipalities with Monroe kind of pushing people out. So with your permission, I wanted to pursue more leads to try to get more cost-effective and more efficient IT methods for City Hall.
Absolutely. Basically, you're going to do this review. You'll be able to come back to the board and give us some comparisons, or at least estimates of comparisons. So unless you're actually doing whatever the very specific requirement is, you may not be able to get or you may be able to get a dollar for dollar comparison for the same work being performed. So, okay, so what we need here?
I don't care.
Just
I don't need anything at the moment.
You just wanted to try to get a consensus among the board. Does the board have a consensus to let Alex proceed, try to save some money?
Yeah.
All right, there you got your answer. Thank you, Alex, for what you're doing. I appreciate it.
Just like on the M365 mail, there's usually not much markup at all on that part.
They're marking it up.
Yeah, I think the base is only like $6 or $4 or something, so.
It's pretty steep for something that's pretty simple.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Thanks, Alex, for that. Next item on the agenda, does anyone on the board have any old business? Please.
I guess that was Tuesday? What, yes, yesterday.
Yesterday. It was yesterday.
Finally got the ball rolling on getting the .gov address, and this is not in fast process. We tried to, because it's federal government, so they're want to make sure everything, and we tried multiple phone numbers to verify him, and this is after submitting a copy of an ID, and we're down to, they're going to mail something to verify in 5 to 10 days, so we shall see. But on their site, they said they're backlogged, and it's a minimum of 8 weeks.
They don't need an audit, do they?
No, no. They're just verifying who we are and that we're a legitimate need for it, so.
Well, actually, I felt very good about the whole process because I concluded and affirmed that no one in the U.S. government knows who in the heck I am. So consequently, I think that's a good thing. So yeah, I think it'd be a much more secure system for us. It'll automatically comply to maybe some of those requirements out there for the conduct of government business that we may or may not even be aware of. If there's no further old.
Mr. Howell, maybe one thing. May I address the board?
I'm sorry, you look.
Regarding a city project.
Sure.
So.
We're stretching it, folks. We're stretching it. It's on the agenda. Y'all want to do a vote? Okay, Laura, you win.
Okay. So, I'm here kind of as a continuation of my visit here last time. I was here to report on the County Line Road project that's largely funded by EDA. The last time I was here, we reported that there was a posting notice given to some of the Indian tribes about this project. That time has passed, and it's time to put that project out for bids. So it's probably time to make a decision, either put it out for bids or not. Because the EDA is expecting progress. We bought you a little time last time we were here, gave you some plans to look at. We're just kind of out of things to delay.
I think that's first under.
We can technically vote on it next meeting.
I mean, you guys do what you need to do. I'm here as more or less a due diligence visit. Yeah, Cindy also has been here as well. She has some other commitments tonight, but it's the point is it's probably time to take action one way or the other.
So what will the board precisely, if I may, ask for? I want like an agenda for our next meeting. Precisely what is it we need to do?
So basically, we're at a point where on the schedule, the schedule says the project needs to start construction in July of 24. So by the time you look at a bidding cycle, a bidding process, an award process, let alone send it to EDA and let them look at it, we really need to be setting a bid date, advertising. And we just got the notice within the last day or two that that time had passed. So, you know, this was the first opportunity to be here. I will admit failure to reach out and ask for an agenda item. It's been a little crazy, but in any event, so probably your next decision is either you give authorization to coordinate, schedule a bid date, or you
Discontinue.
kill it.
I have a question. What, with other similar projects that you work with, when there's railroad involved. I don't understand the point of widening a road by 4 feet, but then you get to the railroad and it goes back down to the smaller size.
Sure, it was just a matter of expediency more than anything else. We do projects with the railroad representing local governments quite a bit, mostly on bridge projects and some things like that. And the process to get through the railroad would not allow you to complete the schedule according to EDA's requirements.
How long is this project been up?
I think 22. I think we started on 22. So we're at the point of the schedule where it's time to start the advertising process so that it can be completed on time. But to answer your question, the railroad is, no offense to anybody here that might work for the railroad, but they're slow. They're very busy dealing with crossing improvements. There's a lot of heat on that. Just a busy shipping time with the economy rolling again. And so it's just taking a lot of time to get anything done with the railroad. More time than you have.
Right.
And so the idea was make the improvements that can be made with the financial assistance that you have. And then if it's, fill in those gaps a little later, but at least get this part done that you're getting tremendous financial help with.
But how much of an obligation we have of that?
To do what?
I mean, is
With
it,
the EDA project? Or
Yeah, how much are they?
Railroad?
EDA, how much would they cover of it?
You're asking what will the city need to pay out of POM?
The project as it is, or doing something on the railroad?
As it is.
As is.
363,000 is what you. And that was in the packet that I gave you if you decide to go back to it. In the back of that is the award conditions and things like that. If there's any saving grace, it doesn't happen all at one time. There's payments that get made over time.
Do you know how long will it take to complete the projects once you started, if that was to happen?
So the deadline in the specific award conditions is that construction completed no later than July 27th to 26th. And I will say that as we sit here in 24, that sounds like that ought to be easy. But there's a tremendous amount of government money hitting infrastructure projects, and contractors are getting busy. And then, this project has got some asphalt in it, and so asphalt likes to be laid when the weather's nice, not too cold. So, from November through May, give or take, asphalt is out. And so we have basically an opportunity and a half to get it done, basically. We got this season and then just part of the next one at the very end.
Get the financing. Whose idea was the project to start with?
That I'm not sure about.
It was in 22?
Huh?
It was in 22?
Yes.
Yeah,
let me look at that here. And what I'm looking at is the award conditions. So the date of the award was July 27th to 22. So prior to that, the application was made, the engineering report was done. And so this was probably late 21, early 22.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I apologize, I should have known more, but our obligation is 363, but what is our now awarded number that we will?
The amount that EDA is putting in is $1,314,349. And I've been listening in enough to understand there's a lot of challenges. I'm not here to push it one way or the other. I'm just telling you that we're at a calendar point. As being a participant in this, I feel like it's my due diligence to bring that to your attention. To stay on schedule, we need to move ahead. And so, you decide to put it on your agenda and make a decision next time? Is that in 2 weeks or is that a month? 2 weeks. 2 weeks, I might say that'll be fine. But if you, maybe what we can do in that 2-week time frame is maybe if you decide to move ahead, maybe we can have an idea what that bid opening date would be, and maybe we'll catch up a little time. If you decide not to, there we go.
That's good for now.
What would we be out if we decided to not do it?
If you decide not to, my understanding is that the EDA will pay for my engineering fee that you paid.
Even if it's not.
Reimbursed.
Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we paid,
That last.
Yeah, at the last meeting, it was approved to pay what was due. My understanding, EDA will pay for that. That's what the grant administrator told me.
Even if we
We
don't.
issue checks to the city council or
Council government, thanks.
Yeah.
So I don't know what exactly the cost sharing will be on that part. I don't know if it's prorated. I don't know. I don't know those details.
During the construction, if they move forward, if the board moves forward, Alice, please get it on the agenda for 2 weeks from now. But if the board did go that way, I just got a curious question. What would happen to the traffic on County Line Road?
So part of it's actually a stage construction with traffic control to try to keep one lane open. Part of the project is broken up in phases to try to maintain traffic for the different businesses and the entrances that are there.
Okay. You've answered my question.
Yeah.
Would you be able to provide like a spreadsheet or something showing the breakdown of the council of the cost to pull the plug versus the cost of completing it?
I'm sure I can work with council.
I mean, I just think if we had that in a packet, that would help everybody make a better decision.
So I think
We've already done that.
I think at the last meeting, it's my understanding that after we paid the invoices to council and to Shannon that we approved, there were not going to be any more costs incurred. Is that correct?
for the design phase.
We don't owe you any more money.
Not at this time. If you move forward with the bidding process and all that, then there would be a work product.
We're caught up.
Yeah, I think
And
there should be
80% will get back of what we already paid.
there should be an invoice for council of government, I think, for some of their work that's been done.
We approved that last month.
Okay, I don't think they've received anything yet.
I don't see an invoice on that. Oh.
Okay. I encourage her to send one to them. Yeah. So as far as what you're at, if they reimburse a fraction of that, 80% of 172 is about 160 or so, give or take. Yeah, whatever that math is.
But we already issued those.
We did.
We did.
Look at it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Was there a traffic study done?
There was a traffic study done. So I'm guessing you get around 145 back, give or take. So you're going to be out 20,000-30,000 if you stop it. But if you don't stop it, you're going to be out another 30,000.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whatever you decide to do is fine. We'll be back in a couple weeks.
All right.
Thank
you.
Anything else? I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you all.